Mike loved a good prank. He lived for the shriek, the jump, the look of utter terror on his friends' faces. So when his buddy Jake announced he'd just gotten the keys to his new apartment, Mike's mind went into overdrive.
A new place, huh? Perfect for a housewarming gift.
Jake, blissfully unaware of the impending doom, just grinned.
I'm thinking pizza and video games. What about you?
Mike just chuckled, a plan already forming in his mind. It was time to introduce Jake to the haunted toilet. The bathroom was small, cramped, and had barely enough room to move around. But it was perfect for Mike's purposes. He had been planning this prank for weeks, waiting for the right moment. He'd snuck in earlier while Jake was unpacking boxes, making sure he wouldn't be noticed. His backpack lay open on the bathroom floor, filled with the tools of his trade. First came the sign, a crucial element to set the mood. Mike carefully taped a piece of paper to the bathroom door, making sure it was straight and visible. Scrawled in his best creepy handwriting were the words, "Beware! This toilet is haunted!" He chuckled to himself, imagining Jake's reaction. Next, he dug into his bag and pulled out a small, battery-powered speaker, a key component for the auditory scare. This he carefully wedged behind the toilet, angling it for maximum scare potential. He knew the sound would echo perfectly in the small space. He tested the sound effects. A low moan, followed by the rattling of chains. Perfect. The sounds were eerie and convincing. Finally, he arranged the finishing touches, making sure everything was in place for the ultimate scare. A rubber spider perched precariously on the toilet paper roll, ready to startle anyone who reached for it. A dollop of glow-in-the-dark slime, fake ectoplasm of course, dripped down the side of the tank, adding a visual element to the prank. The haunted toilet was ready. Mike stepped back to admire his work, feeling a sense of accomplishment. Now all he had to do was wait for Jake to discover it. Mike found Jake in the living room, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes. The room was a mess, with items scattered everywhere, giving it a chaotic yet homely feel.
Hey man, I'm gonna hit the head. Be right back.
He strolled towards the bathroom, his footsteps echoing in the quiet house, making sure Jake was watching. He wanted to make sure his friend was paying attention. He grasped the doorknob and paused dramatically, as if he was about to reveal a great secret.
Jake, did you know your bathroom is, haunted? I mean, seriously haunted.
Yeah, right. Haunted, sure. And I bet you've got a bridge to sell me too. Come on, Mike.
Mike shook his head slowly, trying to keep a straight face, his face a mask of mock concern. He was really getting into the act.
No, seriously, I'm not joking. There's a sign and everything. You have to see it to believe it.
Intrigued, Jake got up and peered over Mike's shoulder. He couldn't resist the curiosity. He saw the sign, the slime, the spider. It was a well-crafted prank. A slow grin spread across his face. He had to admit it was a good one.
Okay, you got me. That was pretty good. Not bad, Mike. Not bad at all. You really had me going there for a second.
Showtime.
Mike entered the bathroom and closed the door behind him. He could hear Jake chuckling softly outside. He waited a few seconds, then hit play on the speaker. The mournful moan echoed through the small room, followed by the chilling clang of chains. Suddenly, the bathroom light flickered. Mike froze, his finger hovering over the speaker's pause button. That wasn't part of the plan. Then came a loud groaning sound from behind the wall. It sounded like pipes. This time the light flickered again, dimmer this time. Mike felt a shiver run down his spine. This was getting creepy even for him. Outside, Jake was no longer laughing. He heard the moan, the chains, and then the strange noises that followed. His smile faded. This wasn't funny anymore.
What if it wasn't a prank? What if Mike was really in trouble?
He raised his hand to knock on the door, then stopped. Just then, the bathroom door swung open. Mike stood there, his face pale, his eyes wide.
Dude, I think this place is actually haunted.
Jake stared at him. The bathroom light chose that moment to go out completely, plunging them both into darkness. The only sound was the groaning of the pipes, louder now. For a long moment they just stood there, frozen in the sudden darkness. The room was eerily silent, and the only sound was their own breathing, heavy and quick. The shadows seemed to grow longer, and every creak of the old house felt amplified in the pitch-black room. Then, as if on cue, they both burst into laughter. The tension broke like a dam, and the room filled with the sound of their relieved giggles. It was as if the laughter was a release valve for all the pent-up fear.
Okay, I think we can both agree that was a little too real. I mean, who knew a simple power outage could be so terrifying?
Mike nodded, still chuckling. His heart was still racing, but the laughter made it easier to handle.
Yeah, maybe we should leave the haunting to the professionals, or at least get better at handling our own scares.
Later, after locating a flashlight and discovering that a burnt-out light bulb and the neighbor's ancient plumbing were the real culprits, they finally calmed down. The mystery was solved, and the fear seemed almost silly in hindsight.
You know, I think I prefer my scares a little more controlled, like a good horror movie, not real-life jump scares.
Don't worry, I've got plenty more pranks where that came from. Just wait until you see what I have planned for Halloween. Maybe not in the bathroom. That was a bit too much for my heart to handle.